Welcome back to the Scarlet Faithful podcast. I'm your host and co-founder, Aaron Breitman. Wednesday, May 17th, coming to you in the afternoon once again. Hopefully get back to the morning soon. It's been a little bit of a busy week and many fronts for myself, but wanted to take this episode and really give some updates. A lot happening the last couple of days with Rutgers athletics. Even though it is the middle of May now, the school year is over. Just a couple of sports still going on, but plenty to discuss. So just a quick note on men's lacrosse. It was announced on Wednesday. Inside Lacrosse released their All-American teams. Rutgers had two players represented. Ethan Rawl, second team All-American, and Shane Knobloch, third team All-American. Rawl finishes his career at Rutgers, one of the best long stick defensemen or long stick midfielders in program history, one of the best players in program history, multi-year All-American, and he meant a lot to the success of this program under Brian Brecht. And then Shane Knobloch, who should be back as midfielder, really kind of the key, I think, to when he was on this year, Rutgers was on, and he's really, I think, going to be the leader moving forward next year on the field for Rutgers to have continued success. So moving on, track and field. So I wanted to cover this sooner. I'm going to have an article coming out hopefully later today, but the Big Ten Championships were last weekend, and Rutgers track and field as a program had their most successful Big Ten Championships. They had 19 podium finishers. The most they had ever had previously was 11. The women's team had their best finish ever at the Big Ten Championships. Chloe Timberg won again the pole vault, Big Ten champion, won in the indoor as well. And they also had Sincere Robinson, the long jump, finished second. So they had those were their two best finishers, and they had multiple podium finishers in the top 8 of each event. But really good news there. Coach Bobby Farrell has done a great job with that program, and hoping to talk to him at some point. And now we'll wait for NCAA regionals to see how many Scarlet Knights get or qualify. And then ultimately the NCAA Championships in Eugene, Oregon at famous Hayward Field at the University of Oregon. Just seeing if any other Nadal Bunton finished 4th in the 200 meter, 6th in the 100 meter. Christopher Serraro, 110 meter hurdles, 7th, multiple 5th, 6th. I just want to see if any number 4, 4th place, 200 meters, Denisha Page. And that was probably, and then Celine Brown, 5th place in the long jump. But I'll have an article up with all the results. But good for track and field. Great to see that program continuing to progress. Rowing, Rutgers rowing under head coach Justin Price was earned their 4th consecutive bid to the NCAA Championships. Was announced on Tuesday. They're now ranked number 15th nationally. Only 22 teams go to the NCAA Championships. 11 at-large bids. Rutgers got one of them once again. They just finished 4th in the Big Ten Championships this past weekend. And they finished in the top 13 the last 3 previous trips to the Nationals, which they hadn't gone to. I mean, Justin Price has transformed the program. They finished 11th in 2019. 20 was canceled due to COVID. And then 21 and 22, they finished 13th both years. Last year, they outperformed their season all 3 events, the Varsity 8, Varsity 4, and second Varsity 8. So they go to the Nationals, which is actually going to be at Cherry Hill this year, Cooper River. It's going to be on Memorial Day weekend. So I do have an article up on that, and I'll have more coming up when nationals take place. But great to see rowing continuing to have success, and really, I mean, one of the top, most consistent programs Rutgers has right now. Moving on, women's hoops. Another day, another big signing from head coach Coquise Washington, who's having a tremendous offseason on the recruiting trail. Just landed 4-star point guard Lisa Thompson out of the Chicago, Illinois area. She was previously committed and I believe reportedly signed with DePaul, and reopened her recruitment in April. She's a big-time recruit, top 60 recruit. Held 3 dozen offers. She was actually offered previously by Rutgers under C. Vivian Stringer, but she had a final 6. She was even recruited by South Carolina, which is a national power. But she ultimately chose to stay home at DePaul, but reopened her recruitment. Now she's coming to Rutgers, and they signed her. So it's official. Great find by the staff to get someone in the 2023 class so late in the recruiting cycle. Really impressive. Now she joins Destiny Adams, former McDonald's All-American, New Jersey native, Manchester, former Gatorade Player of the Year out of New Jersey, was at North Carolina the last 2 years. She was a 5-star at a high school. Then they also are adding Maya Petticourt, former 4-star point guard from Texas A&M this past year. So those 3 players will be coming in. All their 6 of their 8 players from last year are back, plus Jillian Hoyter, who joined the program mid-year last year. So she's a freshman. But, they have Kayleen Smichael, second team All Big Ten, tremendous freshman year last year. China Cornwall is back. She had a great year inside. Really balanced. They have Erica Lafayette back. Iowa Sidibe is back. They have forgetting a couple other people on the spot right now, but they have the bulk of their roster back. Cassandra Brown, the transfer from St. Peter's, she was productive inside last year. She's back. So Coquise is really building a strong roster for next year. Still has, I believe, 3 spots available for the 23-24 season. They also have a verbal commitment from Zakara Perkins in the 2024 class. She recently committed in the last week or so, maybe a little bit longer, and my time frame is a little bit off or wonky. But that's 4 big-time transfers and recruits that Washington's now brought into the program just in the last, I'd say 5 weeks or so. Obviously a critical offseason, but it's her first true offseason at Rutgers, and she's proving big things on the recruiting trail. I've said I did a podcast on the program last week. You can still find that on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or the website, scarletfaithful.com. But I think her methodical approach, not panicking, not just adding players to add players last year, gutting it out with 8 scholarship players, and now really transforming the roster in her vision and bringing in some serious talent, super hard-nosed players, athletic players. I think it's going to be a versatile roster, players being able to defend multiple positions. They're going to be an up-tempo team. She's wanting that to be their style. So a lot of exciting things happening with women's basketball. Moving on to baseball. Final regular season weekend of Big Ten play. Rutgers travels to Minnesota. A little bit different weekend slate. It's going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday due to the Big Ten tournament beginning next Tuesday. I plan to do a preview podcast episode probably coming out Monday with the tournament starting on Tuesday. But just wanted to touch on the weekend ahead for them. They are currently tied in 4th place in the Big Ten standings. You have Indiana and Maryland at the top at 15-6. Then you have Iowa at 13-7, and the Rutgers is in a 3-way tie with Nebraska and Michigan at 13-8. Mind you, Rutgers has won 17 of the last 21 games, which is really remarkable. They started 2-4 in Big Ten play, so they've won 11 of their last 15 in conference. Did have, a slow start, but the pitching's really come around. Steve Owens made a tremendous decision moving Christian Coppola to the Friday starter, number 1 starter role, true freshman, and boy, has he delivered. 4 out of 5 quality starts, dominant starts. He's had 13 strikeouts twice now. So he's really solidified the rotation and brought stability, and the team has prospered because of it. Drew Conover's had some big outings for them at the number 2 role. Ben Gorski's been really solid for them as the closer. He has 8 saves now. You had Jake Marshall come up big in the bullpen on Sunday, winning the series over Illinois. And then the bats have woken up. Chris Brito now, not only did he set the program's home run record 2 weekends ago, but last weekend he broke the RBI record. Ryan Lasko is going to be, drafted, I think, relatively high in the spring. He's come on of late. Jordan Sweeney's had a few, heroic at-bats of late. And then Andy Axelson have 2 big home runs this past weekend, the catcher. Josh Kuroda-Growers had a breakout season. So a really balanced lineup. Evan Slight is really good for them as well. It's a balanced lineup. It's a veteran lineup. The pitching is clicking. I think they have a legitimate shot in the Big Ten tournament. I do think they need to win it to make the NCAA tournament, and I'll go into that more on Monday's preview show. It was just, they started 15-15. They're now 32-19. But remember, last year they were, 44-17 and didn't make the cut. The RPI, I believe, then was in the 40s. Right now it's in the 50s. The Big Ten just doesn't get the respect in baseball that the Southern schools get. So I do think they have to win the Big Ten tournament. I think they have a shot. I think it's wide open for sure, and we'll see what happens. But closing, this week, obviously seeding purposes, you want to win as many games as you can. I mean, it'd be great to close. Minnesota's not good; they're 8-13 in the conference, barely above 500 for the year. So I mean, listen, if they get at least 2 wins, get to 15 wins, they have a good shot of finishing in the top 4. There's really no big head-to-head matchups this weekend in terms of good teams playing each other. You have Iowa playing Northwestern, who's not good. Michigan's playing Ohio State. Obviously, that's a rivalry, but Ohio State has not been good. Nebraska plays Purdue. That's probably kind of the closest matchup on paper. And then Indiana, Michigan State. Michigan State is decent. And then you have Maryland playing Penn State, who's not very good. So, they're not going to catch Maryland or Indiana. I'd say potentially Iowa. Probably not, though. Northwestern hasn't been good. Rutgers swept them as well. So, hopefully Rutgers wins 2 out of 3. I mean, if they get a sweep, that would be huge. But I think just as much momentum as they could bring into the Big Ten tournament on Tuesday, obviously would be huge. And in closing, I want to discuss briefly the Rutgers men's basketball assistant coaching search. I haven't written on it. I haven't talked about it. I know people are antsy. People are asking. There's been some other sites that have published some information on it. And honestly, I did this with the 2024 recruiting class yesterday. I like to wait sometimes because there's a lot of things that come out. And then, the news cycle is so fast these days. I like to sit on things and wait until I kind of feel comfortable talking about it to make sure that it's real, to make sure that it's something worth talking about and not just rumors. So in terms of the assistant coaching search, a lot has been said. I did have a kind of initial list of candidates I thought about a month ago. And we have to wait and see. Pico's taking his time, but I think things are picking up, and I do think we'll hear something soon. Also of note, Tom Barrett left for Sacred Heart and opened up. He was the director of external operations. So I do expect that they'll probably announce. I guess it depends, but I think they're actively searching for both positions. Again, I don't know if it'll stay a director of external operations. I do know that Barrett was involved with analytics. Perhaps it'll be a slightly different role. But the assistant coaching search, a lot of names out there. Nothing's been confirmed. And that's why I haven't, kind of talked specifically about anyone. And we'll see what happens. But I think it's changing. I do think that the New England recruiting presence is important for this hire. I would like to see someone that has an offensive background, has had success at the D1 level coaching offense. I think a lot of people want that. But I think chemistry is really important too. It's got to be someone that's going to fit with Brandon Knight and TJ Thompson, two very strong recruiters, very strong coaches on the younger side, but very successful at Rutgers so far. They fit with Pikel. And I think they make a great team. And this third assistant coach really needs to fit well and gel with them, and also offer something both recruiting-wise and on the court as a coach. So I think, Pikel doesn't need to rush it, but I do think things are progressing now. The transfer portal deadline is behind us in terms of being eligible for next season. They crossed that hurdle, which I talked about last week in a podcast episode. So I do think things are starting to pick up, and we're going to hear relatively soon. And once I kind of have more information in terms of what I think is going to happen, I'll talk about it more. But I just wanted to send an update there in terms I do think things are progressing. And I do think that Pikel's going to have some, he definitely has options, which is a good thing. So lots of exciting things going on with Rutgers men's hoops. A lot of exciting things going on with Rutgers athletics. I appreciate you watching and listening to this episode once again. And I will be back tomorrow with a new one. And check out all my coverage at thescarletfaithful.com. Have a great day.